Sepupz, fake news. Let me repeat, fake news. I like my fake news. I don't know if you like your fake news as well. It's definitely entertaining. Yeah. Welcome. Welcome to the Zakir Naik fake news situation. This is like basically like a full-on Zakir Naik appreciation channel at this moment in time. I mean, like, I've had like how many videos about like Zakir Naik so far? It's like what, like three, four, five? I don't know. Like, this is one of various. I mean, like, are we even streaming right now? Let me see. Are we hanging out and with the audience? Yeah, let's see. Who is here at the moment? Where are you watching from? Welcome to the live stream, Sepupz. Welcome. Let's see. It might actually not be live. Let me see. Hold up. No, it is not. All right. Interesting. Awkward. I have to do that again. Fake news. Well, this is kind of awkward because like I was literally doing a full-on intro earlier and I didn't realize that I was actually unlisted. So poops, welcome. Welcome, 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 one and all. I see that a lot of you like basically just casually clicked in on that situation right there. I mean, yeah, so poops, like it's a kind of a wild situation this evening. Welcome. Where are you watching from? Please let me know. Anyone out there, where are you from? I hope that you are all doing great. You're having an amazing evening. The universe is turning in your way. The I don't know, like the money gods are opening up their like halls for you right there. The I don't know, like the woman of your dreams has gazed you multiple times in the eyes right there, and you are about to like receive a third wife. I don't know, like I have no idea like what your situation is. But anyway, welcome to this live stream. So yeah, so today we're talking about Zakir Naik fake news. Welcome, John. And it's kind of crazy at the moment. I don't know how you feel at the moment, given that we've had like maybe like four or five videos on this channel about Zakir Naik. It's like basically a Zakir Naik appreciation channel at this point in time. And hello, everybody else out there. But you know what? I'm gonna go right ahead and show you exactly what happened right over here. It's this. Check it out. All right. Zakir Naik is casually saying that he is not dying. He is saying, hey, I am not dying. I am not at a government hospital. These allegations, they are unfounded. It is fake news. It is an absurd claim meant to tarnish my reputation. This is what it is right there. Casually like talking to FMT right there to a journalist who was not Rex Sun. And yeah, by the way, like there is a small chance, right, guys, that I might actually get a chance to talk to Rex Tan, depending on like whether he says that he's actually down for it. We might actually talk about that whole question right there. I don't know if it's actually gonna happen. If it does happen, it'll be fun. But anyway, so yeah, people have been thinking somehow or another that Zakir Naik is is dying. And like I don't know like where all of these came from right here. I don't know why like people basically began this whole thingamabob right there. But as it turns out, there is actually a whole source and a reason, and I'm gonna show you right over here that this guy named Baba has basically said, "Hey, did you know?" And I'm just reading from like the tweet here. Radical Islamic preacher Zakir Naik is on ventilator and counting his least breath. Wow. Okay. Thankfully, Baba Banaras is not, in fact, a shall we say English speaking I don't know. I don't know whether he speaks like English all the time, honestly. Like, whatever. In hospital, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia is under a highly secure facility with limited access of close relatives. Earlier, he was diagnosed with AIDS along with his daughter and wife. What? Okay, Sepupz. Okay, I. There are so many ways to interpret the sentence right now. I mean, when I saw this, right? I heard about like what happened, on this FMT article. That I immediately went and like looked this up. I was like immediately like just reading this and like trying to figure out like what it means right over here. So like, okay, a couple of things right here. So like he was diagnosed with AIDS, right? Along with his daughter and wife. So there are a few possible meanings for this. Number one, right? He was with his daughter and his wife, and then he was diagnosed with AIDS. Then the question then is like, why are you suddenly dying? That's the first thing, right? Like, if you're diagnosed with AIDS, right? Like, usually it's like, okay, like the doctor's gonna be all like, oh, you're gonna have like, I don't know, like, I don't know how many months you have to live, like, if you're diagnosed with AIDS. I have no idea, kind of thing. But like, I don't know, like a year kind of thing. But it's like suddenly he is like dying kind of thing. All right, so like that should make you sus already, right? But like the sentence structure here is like, okay, how many people got AIDS? Like, was it one person or was it like three people? Like, was it like him, his daughter, and his wife? Like, did all of them get AIDS at the same time? Sapupus, what do you think? Sapupus, what do you think? I'm just like trying to like process this right here, like figuring things out. Samson, Bao Kwa, Mr. West, what is up? I hope that you're doing great. I hope that you're doing great. And I hope that yeah, you could be doing even greater, some of you out there. If and this is for those of you who don't like Zakir Naik, you could be doing greater if Zakir Naik were actually on his last breath, but unfortunately, or fortunately for some of you out there who really love, well, Zakir Naik, well, yeah, he's not actually dying at the moment. Safyuddin, Upper Kabar, Sepup, Chinho, Upper Kabar, Chinho. Yeah, what's up? We have not deported the guy, and he is right now in the middle of a casual fake news saga for those of you who just came in. So, like, he this guy has been casually saying, hey, you know what? I'm not dying. I'm not dying. They're trying to tarnish my reputation. I'm not dying. I'm not dying. But again, right? Like, okay, so this is what it says right here. But you want to know something interesting? The whole reason why like he has to actually go out and respond, right? Okay, is well, he's not going to respond to every single person, right? Like you don't just like respond to every single idiot who comes out and then like it just goes and comments kind of thing. Like for me sometimes like if I see like somebody who like writes something that like pisses me off for some reason or another, I'm just like, you know what? Like for my mental health, I will just pause. I'll just be all like, no, like this is not it kind of thing. Which is why, like, like if somebody comes up to me like with a fake account kind of thing, and then just be all like, oh, like commenting like racist things all the while, oh, yeah, like no, I just cannot. But like in his case, right? So like he actually had to respond, and you know why? You know why? Look, check it out. Right now, there are people saying right now he should turn to Jesus, he will be saved. And some people are like verifying everything. How did the daughter get infected? All right, like there's a whole conversation that's going on right here. It's believed. Write an essay to defend it, bro. Okay. This is by the way like a nice like demonstration of like average level brain power of like these people right here. I don't think that all of these people are like Zakir Naik followers. Maybe this person is a Zakir Naik follower. I don't know. Let's see. Does she actually follow Zakir Naik? Do you actually follow Zakir Naik? I don't know. Zakir. Okay, so she doesn't actually follow Zakir at the moment, but anyway, like yeah, she's not very bright. But anyway, like she's a follower of like Baba Banaras, like whoever this person is, whose religion is India. Wow, amazing. And what do we have right here? Even more people just casually having a discussion right over here. This is what is going on. How whole family infected. Incest family, bro. Okay, this is you are actually seeing right here. Yeah, this is the kind of thing right over there where it's like, hey, look, John MacArthur right here is like the classic kind of person, right, who like actually causes the rumor to like go on. Like the diagnosis is unconfirmed as of this morning. The hospital is being tight-lipped. Yeah, like no shit, right? Like if it's not actually true, then like what are they gonna say? Are they gonna say to you, hey, I'm sorry, like like Mr. Naik like has citation needed, not just regular disease at this point. Like he has in fact mega AIDS citation needed, obviously because that is not actually true. But like yeah, like I don't know. It's there are actually people like believing this right now. And like when you actually have like people believing this kind of thing, like you actually have to take action, like it's yeah, it's what it is right there. Hello, John from Boise, Ohio, and like a range of different people right over there. Wow, there's some really good like information from like the chat today, and those of you who are like not seeing this right now, I think that you really need to like understand this right now, because I know like some of you all like just don't read chat and like you're just like listening to the live stream. But look, okay, look, comment from Samson G3L. Suppose make sure you stay far away from Zakir Naik when I talk to the brother because he spits when he talks. Damn, bro, like, did you actually go to like a Zakir Naik event? Damn, like, this is like interesting, like, to think about right there. I mean, like, yeah, I don't. Okay, I am actually very tempted right now to ask a very divisive question. All right. It's kind of it's kind of controversial. It may actually go viral in the wrong way, but like I am just gonna go right ahead and ask it anyway. All right. Okay. All right. Zakir Naik is not dying, but if he were, then would you be happy? All right. This is what we've got right here. Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. All right. I feel like this is like opening up Pandora's box right now, but like, let's go. But if he were, would you? All right, he is not dying, but if he were, then would you be happy? Go, 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 friends. Uh, Somebody went yes, and then like you changed it like later, then over to like just you got rid of it, and then you're all like, that is what it is. Yeah, so like stuff you did. I mean, like honestly, like if you support like Zakir Naik, like by all means, like it's totally like it's your life, man. Like I don't really care. I mean, like the whole thing, like for me, is just that like, hey, maybe like if there is like an intention of like honoring like your relationship with India right there, then like if you really want to go all the way, then like maybe you should actually go right ahead with the extradition, whatever have you right there. But I see like, like from understanding the sort of like psychology, right? So for those of you who understand who like watch the video earlier about like why do Malaysians protect Zakir Naik, hey, like I understand like where you are coming from, right? Like some of y'all are like religious Sepupz kind of thing. You think he's a hero of religion, whatever have you right there. Believable. Some of you, you hate India for some reason that I don't really understand right there. I don't know like what exactly happened to some of you out there. Like I would imagine, like I talked about it, right? And like I didn't really like criticize it at that point, but like I think that like people who just like hate entire countries, right, are like problematic kind of thing. And by the way, like that applies to like hating all Muslims as well. Like that's not okay either. It's just that, yeah. Then like the third factor that I mentioned was yeah, like what was it again? Yeah, like political motivation. Like some people think that like there's a whole political motivation thing right there. And the last one was that like yeah, he didn't really create any trouble recently, which is like a fact. He didn't actually create like any trouble recently. Unless of course like you consider like like going out there and saying that hey, like I'm not dying is like a form of like creating trouble. Like that could be a thing. I don't know. But anyway, so would you be happy? So 53% of you say yes. I don't know, like some of y'all be all like, uh, wow, that is, that is, I hope that y'all are doing great, man. But anyway, so like in this case right here, what do we have? No, 17%. If you don't like Zakir Naik in Malay Peninsula, you can go back to China. People who mention going back to China because they don't respect other Malaysian citizens can go back to the goat shit from which they got their education. And also perhaps over to the school where they interacted with their other goats. You're not welcome to this channel. Goodbye. Cheers. Anyway, so what do we have right over there? We have some other people saying right over now, okay, yes, 50%. Like half of you, half of you, half of you. They are like, hey, let's like it's actually great, like if he actually died. But like we know he's not dying. We know he's not dying. Like that's a fact, bro. Anyway, what do we have right over there? Okay, so like some people are like saying like some questions right there. Can I say something positive about Z Naik? I don't know. I like the way that he says the brother has asked a very good question. I hope that y'all don't think that this is racist, but like I just like appreciate the way that he says that. You know, like he's just like he says like the brother has asked a very good question, and it is a fact, right? Like the guy has like probably some of like the best command, right, of like scriptures, even though like it is memorized, even though it is like selectively picked out and stuff like that. You know, I appreciate that. You know, like I appreciate that as a skill. I think that the skill is being used in a very unfair context, but it doesn't mean that I can't appreciate the skill. You know, like sometimes you just gotta like separate the player from the game. And in this case right here, like maybe yeah, like you hate the game, but like maybe the player is you probably kind of hate the player in like some ways as well, but like he's at the very least, right? Like you know sometimes, right? Like you see somebody, right, that like you really really hate, like to the bottom of like your guts. Like maybe like that guy earlier who's like telling me to go back to China or something. Like he really, really hates my guts or something like that, right? But like maybe then he thinks to himself, right? Damn, like if this guy can like actually go out there and like play the guitar like really well or something like that, he'll be like, oh, god damn, I hate that guy, but he's really talented. Yeah. So like like I feel like Zakir Naik can have like a couple of those things right there. And actually I could say another good thing about like Zakir Naik. I mean, yeah, like he did actually well go right ahead and make this answer to a question from to someone from Malaysia actually who was like asking like, hey, why is it that our dakwah effort is actually so terrible? Like, why is it actually so horrible at this point in time? Why does it never actually accomplish anything? Why do we not actually manage to, shall we say, yeah, like like share our like faith or anything like that? And he said basically at that time, hey, it's probably because like you've got to be a good person, and when you see people like that guy earlier that I hit on the channel, right? Like, but for those of you who came in, welcome. This is, well, Zakir Naik, fake news is crazy. Yeah. So like, basically, the fake news for those of you who just popped in, and for the benefit of everyone here, so that we're on the same page. All right. Fake news is that Zakir Naik was on his deathbed, and a guy basically like said this earlier. All right, so back to the thing earlier. So like there was a racist comment earlier, right? Like from this one like guy who was like telling me to allegedly go back to China or something like that if I hate Zakir Naik kind of thing. Which honestly like I'm not like 100% sure that I like hate the guy. I don't like certain things that he does, right? Doesn't mean that I hate the guy. Um like honestly, like okay, if I had to like put it down, like, I would have to say no. Like I don't really hate Zakir Naik. Does that mean that you didn't tell me to go back to China? But anyway, so like yeah, so this whole like telling people to go back to China thing is like not okay. And honestly speaking, like if I had it my way, like I would basically like drag out every bugger who like tries to go out and say like you should go back to China kind of thing. I would literally like parade you in front of your families right now. I would like basically like have like a couple of like I don't know like police officers or like friends of police officers basically like rearrange your face. You can imagine like how that could work right there, whether it's the in the jigsaw puzzle way or like by physical force kind of thing. And yeah, like I would basically do it all as kind of like I would treat it like a joke, you know what I mean? Like having people rearrange your face. Wow, what does that say about my psychology? Anyway, so yeah, but like those of you who like puzzles, it's kind of an interesting thought. But anyway, so this is a sort of like a interesting thingamabob right there. And what do we have right here? Cam Riz, you should start talking about migrants don't know how to speak Bahasa Kebangsaan. This trouble, sorry to say. I can't tell whether you're trying to be like whether you're trying to be like polite or you're trying to be rude. Tapi kalau kau nak, kita boleh je cakap bahasa Melayu. Tak ada problem. I mean, kalau kita buat live stream ni kan. So, kalau kita buatkan title ni, orang yang cinta Zakir Naik sila masuk. Akan muncul tak you punya gang? Saya rasa mungkin ada orang yang akan muncul. So, kalau dia orang muncul, saya rasa boleh je kita sembang. Sebab dulu kan, so memang ada artikel tu pasal pandangan aku pasal si Zakir Naik tu. So dan seperti yang telah saya ketengahkan, or as I said to pretty much like everyone here a while ago, right? Like it's almost like this whole channel has become like a Zakir Naik fan channel, like just like temporarily right over here. I mean, like like they say that like three times the charm, right? Yeah, so like if you actually look at like the list of my videos right now, so like sekarang ni, so like one, two, three, kan? So like this. Why do Malaysians protect Zakir Naik? Are people waking up from Zakir Naik's gaslighting? Why is Malaysia still protecting Zakir Naik? Bro, it's like, wow, like broken record, like right now. Then we are having a live stream about Zakir Naik. It's almost like, when JD Vance, right, was just casually visiting the Pope. I don't know if y'all remember this right here, but like Pope John Paul, right? So like this is kind of like a visit. This was like a coincidence, or maybe it was a, shall we say, like divine appointment, so to speak. But basically, what happened is that JD Vance went to visit the Pope, and then basically the Pope, right, the exact day right after meeting JD Vance, just went and yeeted off into the next world. Just look at this man's face right now. This is this man's face, and that is JD Vance. And maybe like JD Vance is just being all like, "Hey, hello, Mr. President." And sorry, hello, Mr. Pope. I'm sorry, like, but I could totally imagine JD Vance making that mistake, kind of thing, right there. Yeah, that's right. Hillbilly elegy. And yeah, it's actually a meme, by the way. And like, by the way, JD Vance is like the ultimate meme vice president. JD Vance meme. I know that like some of y'all out there enjoy these memes. I know like at least like, three, four, five of you out there who have followed me on Instagram or otherwise, like you appreciate these JD Vance memes. But anyway, yeah, it's kind of like a similar thing, like maybe like I made a video about Zakir Naik, and then like wouldn't that be a like touching interpretation or something like that? You made a video about someone, and then like the next thing you know, it's like all like light Yagami Death Note level shit right there, and like yeah, then the guy like just somehow like pops off. Hey, but like like it's like the universe is fair, right? Like for all you know, like I could be the person who like just like like pops off or something like that. I'm not like like totally attached to this world or anything like that. But so yeah, like it's kind of interesting. Yeah, chat. I don't know like how you're responding to this right now, but like it's interesting. It's interesting to see like what's going on. Yeah, it's fun. But anyway, so we have at the moment like 59% of y'all. Damn, bro. Damn, Sepupz. Kenapa korang ni? Kenapa korang ni macam vindiktif sangat tu? 60% korang ni terasa bahawa sedangkan Zakir Naik ni tak mati sekarang, tapi korang berharap bahawa Zakir Naik memang dia patutlah mati. Like 59% of you actually think that. The no's are like 17%. 17% is like maybe, and then like 10% is like no. Like I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about like all of y'all out there who's like the casual, shall we say, like I don't know. I don't know Sepupz why. Like I want to know, right? Like why is it that you don't know like whether you want like Zakir Naik to have actually died. By the way, he didn't actually die. So like this is like a fun piece of information right over here. So yeah, like something to think about that right there. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting to think about. Oh yeah, thank you Cambridge. Terima kasih Sepupz. Ya memang aku boleh cakap bahasa Melayu. Tiada masalah. Tapi yang saya rasa walaupun seseorang tu dia orang tak mahir cakap bahasa Melayu kan. So tu tak semestinya bermaksud yang dia orang benci you punya budaya. Memang ada sesetengah orang yang their language ability is just shit, you know what I mean? Like their language ability is just shit. Like there are some people out there, right? Like no matter how much they practice kind of thing, like they just don't have that sort of like verbal linguistic skill. I don't know, like maybe it's like their school is just like bad. Maybe like at home, their parents just don't speak the language. And like maybe they just like happen to live in like, I don't know, like Ipoh or something like that. Like, bro, like if you're in that situation, right, like, can I really blame you if like you just don't encounter like somebody who happens to be like Malay speaking all the while? I mean, yeah, like maybe like, you know, as demographics change ke, like apa ke, like you ada jiran ke yang like memang orang Melayu ke, yeah, like statistically, then maybe the chance that you're supposed to like know Malay or something then like would increase. Then yeah, but like it doesn't mean that you're gonna end up like being good at Malay, kan? So like for example, like somebody asked a question, a brother asked a question just now about whether Zakir Naik boleh cakap bahasa Melayu. I don't know, like if we say like something as like definitive fact right now, like and we say that Zakir Naik boleh cakap bahasa Melayu, like for next thing you know, then then like he's gonna come up with like another like message right there, be all like the brother is lying, I cannot speak Malay at all. Or like for all we know, like you know, he actually does have like some degree of like mastery of like the language. I mean, like you know, like I can totally imagine him just like knowing a little bit of like Malay. It's like very hard for you to not know like a little bit of Malay at the very least, right? So then like I don't know, like what is the sort of like minimum standard of Malay that you need to be happy that a person can actually sort of like speak Malay? Like, do they just have to come up to you and then like say like a couple of Malay words like once in a while, here and there and everywhere, just like not speak to you in like complete English, only like try to speak to you in Chinese kind of thing? I don't know. I don't know. But you know, like I actually kind of have to like complain about something that I saw the other day. So like the other day I went with this like one girl like from my gym, right, to a chagi, right? And oh, thank you, Baya. Yeah, so I went with this like one girl to like a chagi, right? So then like there's like two Malay staff. And so with the like staff, right? So like we were like having a conversation kind of thing and like trying to order like our like drinks and everything like that. So that particular girl like happens to be like from mainland China, and so she was trying to talk to the staff, right, and then say like, "Hey, what is this availability of like this particular drink that I want?" She wanted like some white peach, whatever kind of thing, right? Then like the staff basically like just tried to speak to her completely in Malay, like only in Malay the entire way. Then like basically, then like she, right, like so my friend like was like trying to speak to her in like English kind of thing, and then be all like, sorry, I don't quite understand kind of thing. Cause like she's from mainland China, right? So then like I mean like English would be like a natural choice for like lingua franca. And like if you're living in like I don't know, like urban center KL kind of thing, like you kind of expect people to know at the very least like some basic English, right? And like it is sort of like understood that like a person might not know like how to speak like in the rapid pace Malay that you are speaking, right? But like this particular girl, right? Like the staff, like she didn't understand a single word of English at all. You know, you say that like the girl that like the staff, right, didn't understand Chinese kind of thing. Like I remember that there was this one like woman who was like a total Karen, and then like she was like literally like just trying to scream at this woman, like the staff, right? Because like she couldn't speak Chinese, right? Now that's unreasonable. That's unreasonable, right? Like I'm Chinese and I understand if you don't understand Chinese. You know, like Chinese is hard as shit, okay? Like I'm saying this right now, right? You know, Lee Kuan Yew had the right idea in saying that basically, hey, you know what? Like we need to just like get our English levels like up to speed right now. Yeah, I know, like Chinese is my culture and everything. Yeah, 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 whatever. Like screw that. You know, like speak English. You know, it's gonna be better for you, kind of thing. Very practical decision. But yeah, I mean, yeah. So that's my complaint for the day. Welcome to those of you who just popped in. We're talking about how Zakir Naik is not in fact dying. There is a poll going, and we are asking he is not dying, but if he were, then would you be happy? I don't know, like it's 55%. Okay, that's kind of an unpleasant situation right there. But anyway, so yeah. Now, what do we have right here? Shafiq, apa kabar, apa cheater, apa cheater. Yeah, so this is kind of like a sad thing. Yeah, so like your friend from five pun tak boleh nak cakap English. It's kind of hard, you know what I mean? And like honestly, like one day I kind of like want to like do a live stream just completely in Chinese, just to mess with some of you out there. I don't even know like if I have like enough like Chinese fans right there to actually justify doing something like that. As in like Chinese speaking fans kind of thing. I feel like I would actually alienate a good portion of y'all out there. Like sometimes like when people like think of like Chinese people, you just assume that like somehow like if you like you will know like a whole like full on supply, the clan, the family, the dynasty, like all the way down to the Ming dynasty of like Chinese people kind of thing. Like siap other like communists. Then you also have like siap other like I don't know like the old emperors kind of thing. And the next thing you know, like some of y'all are gonna be thinking, hey, do you know Mao Zedong? Huh? You know Deng Xiaoping? You know Jiang Zemin also is it? Xi Jinping? Xi Jinping? Xi Jinping? Xi Jinping? Huh? Kind of thing. And like okay, but like thankfully like nobody has actually got up to me and then like had a conversation like that right there. But yeah, it's interesting. Anyway, so yeah, back to Zakir Naik. So again, like the guy is not dying. I mean, like he's not dead. Like this is like kind of a very interesting thing. But yeah, for some reason or another, right? Like there are all these people who are like thinking right now that he's like dying. So like I mean, look, if you look at like the things right there, yeah, like all these people, and like this is not like just reaching a small number of people. Like this is like a very large number of people kind of thing. And like, look at this. This is, by the way, like you can follow me on X if you want. I mean, I don't really like post there very much or anything, but like yeah, it's like Victor Tan WS. So yeah, this is it's interesting. I mean like but it's interesting that like there are people like doing like this whole like validation stuff right here. I mean like the grok thing, it is unverified. It is unverified. It is unverified. It is not true. Yeah, it's good that you actually have like this sort of like thing right there, and that people actually had to like go out there and validate this stuff right over there. But yeah, you can see like some people just being all like, repent, Zakir. God is giving you a chance. Make sure you use it. You have deceived many, but our God is the God of mercy, bro. Like this is like such a bad evangelism attempt, man. Like, is it okay? Like, and I'm saying this as like somebody who like recognizes that like you generally, right, want to like convert or like dakwah people to like your point of view. It's like very natural point of view. Like I generally discourage that on this channel, like whether you are Christian or like you are Buddhist or like you are Muslim, naturally. And but I can see where the thought comes from, like people actually want to do that right there. But I have to say that that's like the stupidest thing, the stupidest attempt that I've seen out there. It's like, you are not only doing that in a situation where you don't even verify the news kind of thing. It's like you're not even like doing like your due diligence in the very first place. And like, let me tell you right there, okay, if you really want to convert people, right, they actually have to respect you, right? And if you and by the way, like for those of you who just came in, right, like this is actually one of the things. So like somebody asked a question earlier. A brother asked a question earlier. I don't know if you are a brother or sister or whatever, but like a brother asked a question earlier, which was like, what are like a few things that maybe like you actually like about Zakir Naik? And I said that like his response to this question, right, like from someone from Malaysia, which was like basically, hey, our dakwah speed in Malaysia is like basically like slow as well, I'm not gonna say that right there, but it's like basically like he's just saying that like the dakwah movement kind of thing, like no matter your like Firdaus Wongs, your Zamri Vinos or whatever have you right there, or like how many people out there watch revert videos like day in day out, like be all like, oh yes, we are the fastest growing religion in the world. Like it is slow, it is not very fast in Malaysia. And I could like rattle off like even more statistics, like intermarriage rates between religions fewer than 5% consistently across year after year. I've even seen like those numbers right there. People do not want to like marry right there. I've seen like PhD theses about this topic right there. People do not want to convert, generally speaking, right? Unless it's like those like long tail situations right there. And like only then can the math of our constitution and the way that it works actually like come into force. But generally speaking, right, people think of it as kind of like gaslighting. So But yeah, anyway, so in response to the brother's question about dakwah and like the speed of it right there, so Zakir Naik gave a good response. He was like saying, hey, at the end of the day, right, like if you're a good person, then like people are going to just go out there and want to emulate you, right? And I think that that's like a very good answer. You know why? Because like, if you like try your very best out there, you use like sales tactics or whatever have you right there, and then just be all like, hey, you know what? Like you have to go out there and follow me kind of thing right there. You are going to go to hell unless you follow me. And then like basically if you follow me, then like you will reach the promised land kind of thing right there. But like bro, like you know, you can preach about heaven as much as you want, right? But like if basically your earthly life is like basically like just trash, right? Just like complete trash kind of thing, then like I'm not gonna believe you. Like you have all these people out there, right, who are like a dime a dozen screaming like semoga mendapat hidayah, semoga mendapat hidayah. Dude, like I look at your life, you barely have any hidayah. Like basically, like you are living in like ramshackle apartments. You are drinking like teh tarik water. Your personality is basically that of like a piece of cardboard. Your mouth is like a longkang. The way that you speak shows to me that like if you even got an education, it was worse than what I would have gotten if I had been through 11 years of hanging out with goats and calling that my education. I'm not gonna wanna like learn from you, bro. Like I'm just gonna be all like thinking to myself, okay, like this person is like trying to convert me. That is very interesting. Let me go ahead and nod my head and then walk away. Oh yes, okay. Terima kasih. Saya telah terima hidayah. Yeah, you're not very likely to go out there and then just like follow that right there kind of thing. Which by the way also like then makes me wonder about like these like celebrity preachers kind of thing, right? Like how they actually like end up like converting people in the very first place. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. I will say that like dependence is like a very real thing. Like if you kind of like end up right, like somehow like listening to something over and over again, you're more likely to like it. That's like a natural thing, right? But just like as a general rule, right? Yeah, like if I were to see a random person, like let's imagine that we take away like the whole like time exposure thing, right? Like y'all have seen me like a couple of times, like so you know me, right? But like I'm talking about like say a random person on the street, right? If a random person on the street were to basically be like extremely presentable, articulate, knowledgeable, kind, helps an old lady crossing the street, like sees a beggar and then like basically gives them like a 50 ringgit note or something like that while hiding his hand, but then I happen to see just through like the corner of my eye, oh my god, that is basically a note that is 50 ringgit right over there. It just happens that I have one right over here. That is a 50 ringgit note that he is giving to that beggar. Oh my goodness, bagaimanakah? What this person right here, right? And they say that like charity is like real charity is like when you're like giving, but then like you don't actually show your hands. You don't show your hands, right? And like if I see a person like doing stuff like that, right? Like I would actually be impressed, right? I would actually want to know like what is this person like? Why are you behaving like that? Like that's so not so abnormal. Like that's not what like society actually like disposes you to do. And yeah, I am sorry to say this, right? But like just as like a matter of like statistical observation kind of thing, like when I look at like the like if I were to just like think of like say social media kind of thing, I am not likely to be converted by like anybody out there like trying to scream like semoga mendapat hidayah. But as a general rule, right, I will say that like a lot of the Malays I've met like in my day-to-day life, like some of you included, right? Like in case you're like watching my live stream out there, but like you're actually like a friend of mine in real life and you're a lurker. Lurker Mina, apa kabar Sepupz, possible. But yeah, so like I am like inclined, right, to like be more interested in people that I think are like nice, right? I think that like it's a human thing, I'm not sure like if you guys like feel that way as well. Yeah, so it's interesting to think about. Yeah. So like there is like discussion right now about like good old Samaritans. Zakir allegedly being the mastermind behind the Bangladesh cafe bomb blast. Yeah, I heard about like the whole inciting thing. I don't really know like what the inciting actually amounted to in that case. By the way, like just like a little bit of like, shall we say like potential education. I don't know, like some of you may have heard about this before, but like there are like what we call like exceptions to free speech, right? From the Foundation for Individual Rights and expression. And this actually like is related to this idea, right? That we have essentially been like talking about right here, this idea of like incitement, right? So let me see. Do we have that piece on incitement? Okay, maybe like let's. Oh yeah, you know what? Let's go right here and have a look at this right here. Wikipedia, not the best information source, but like it's reasonable in this particular case right here. Okay, incitement. Now, so for those of you who don't know, right there, so like the Zakir Naik, Bangladesh bombing thing was like basically cited as like an incitement case, right there. I mean, like for those of you who don't actually know about like what this actually is, right here. So like he was alleged by Bangladesh, right, to actually inspire violence. He denied it, but of course, like anybody would deny something like that because like you don't have an incentive to like not actually do anything. So apparently he was like asked by an audience member if a suicide attack could ever be justified. So then like he then said if the situation demands like in Palestine and it cause damage to an opponent, as a last resort with guidance from a scholar, it can be used. All right. So then like okay, like maybe some of y'all are like thinking like okay, that totally makes it a criminal, right? But see the thing is, right? So like now if like for example, right now I say, right, that, hey, sometimes if somebody like tries to fight against you, then you should totally fight back, right? Like you just generally have to be strong, right? In society today, you can't be like falling over day in and day out and then like just kowtowing. If somebody tells you to go back to China kind of thing, then you'll be all like, oh, terima kasih, like terima kasih, terima kasih. No, like no. If I say that like you should fight back in that situation, am I literally telling you to go out there and like have a physical fight? The answer is no, right? Am I inciting you in some way? Well, I am increasing the possibility that you may like get into a conflict. And like honestly speaking, like I feel that like more people sometimes, right, like should actually get into conflict because like I remember those days in like primary school when like we would fight over like things and then like we actually learned like a whole ton of things from that, you know what I mean? But like there is a line, right, between like say incitement and then like incitement to what we call lawless action, right? It's very different for me to say, hey, you know what? Like generally speaking, Tatakai, not very controversial. I mean, like you heard it on like Attack of Titan. You know, like some of y'all out there who watch Attack on Titan. But like if I literally say, right, hey, chat, like maybe like beat up Jonathan from like let's just say right here 15 15 Jalan Kapur Kayangan 20 kind of thing, right? So in that case right there, right? So then that is like basically incitement, right? To actually like do something. That address, by the way, doesn't actually exist, right? But like you could argue that basically that's not like imminent incitement. So like there was this like case in like Ohio kind of thing. Like it's called like Brandenburg versus Ohio. And basically like that ended up like making it so that like if you actually want to have like this good old fashioned incitement thing right there, then it pretty much just has to be right this imminent incitement thing in order for it to not essentially be right an allowed form of speech. Because like in the US, right, like they are very, shall we say, strict about that, right? And there's also like this thing that's called imminent lawless action, right? So like it would not be protected if like for example you are in a room, right? And then like basically what happens is that like there are like 20 people basically like in a circle basically around like this particular like guy or something like that. And then you say, everybody, all right, it's time to punch. And then all of them punch at the same time. That's like incitement to imminent lawless action. Because like it's imminent, like it happens as a direct result of your speech, right? But if we think about the Bangladesh bombing thing right there, I mean, like, is it imminent? I mean, like, he gave advice, right? Which could be like, okay, maybe suicide bombing is like permissible under certain circumstances. Which, if you think about it, is like a deplorable piece of advice to give a person, right? And then, like, if you think about it, like, even like the kinds of people who are like listening to this kind of thing right there and like depending on this guy to be like a spiritual leader and stuff like that right there, like, you can just imagine right here, like even a basic amount about like people like that right there who are like asking questions like that. Damn, like if you are asking a question like that, you should be placed on the watch list. Like, I'm sorry, like people say that there are like no stupid questions, but like sometimes, like when people do ask questions, right, like that reveals something about like the way that they are thinking or like their state of mind. And like that actually makes it so that like maybe you should do something. So the Bangladesh bombing thing right there, like gray area, right? Stupid of Zakir to be like answering the question without reference to like say other things outside. Though maybe like he was just like, I don't know, like talking specifically about like his scripture or whatever have you right there. Yeah, so like lots of different complex factors. Yeah, so but anyway, chat. So like when you think about like this whole like thing right here, I mean like he's not like dying or anything. I mean like at least to our knowledge, like he's not dying. But yeah, that is something interesting to sort of like think about. Yeah, Shafiq, Brandenburg versus Ohio. And what do we have right over here? People thinking about like Sejarah, bro. Like, why are y'all thinking about Sejarah? Then this is kind of interesting right over there. And yeah, like lots of chats right here about like Sejarah. Why are you people thinking about Sejarah, man? Like, damn. Sejarah's wild. I mean, like Sejarah was like twisted in my opinion. Like they basically like decided to like so-called like decolonize knowledge kind of thing. Bro, like okay, I have to say this right now, but like okay, one of the things that I hate the most about the Malaysian education system, right, is their like constant insistence on like talking about like wanting to make everything follow a certain religious paradigm. And like actually like that comes from like the idea of like one of our like professors, right? Who is alive even right now and like he is basically a royal professor at this point in time. I don't know how many of you actually have heard of Naquib Al Atas. Anybody heard of Naquib Al Atas? Yeah, if you don't know about Naquib Al Atas, look, like he's one of our two royal professors, all right? And the first one was Unku Aziz, right? So then that is basically Zeti Akhtar Aziz, Bank Negara governor yang I can't remember exactly like what number right there, but like basically he was her father and he was a professor of rural economics at the University of Malaya and also the teacher of Tan Sri Rafida Aziz, who later ended up teaching economics to Muhyiddin, Anwar, and also to a range of other people, including to Zeti herself. So it's kind of like a chain, right? Like it's a very small universe kind of thing. And once you understand those connections, right, then you sort of like know already. But anyway, so like this Naquib Alatas, right? Okay. And by the way, like guys, like I just know like a lot about like this sort of like random stuff right here. It seems useless kind of thing, but like I just like have an awareness of it that's like just I don't know, like not very normal kind of thing, I would say. Anyway, that's Unku Aziz. Yeah, so like Unku Aziz, and Zeti Aziz right there. That is the father, and that is the daughter. And yeah, that is Zeti, by the way. Yes, Zeti was fine when she was young. That is Zeti now. I mean, like, there you go. And what you've got is yeah, the person I'm talking about actually is not this person. The person I'm talking about is this guy that I like actually I think his legacy is like so sus. I think his legacy is so sus. All right, Naquib Al Atas. All right, he's a royal professor right now. All right, and like sometimes you can see him like on the news, like delivering lectures. He's the founder of like the ISTAC or something like that right there, and like he just like kind of hangs around. No longer really. Look at this. Tan Sri Syed Naquib Al Atas. So like, okay, I am not a fan of this man because like he writes things like this. Look at this. This is what it is, all right? By the way, like for those of you who do any reading at all, right? Like this is actually one of the books that Anwar Ibrahim said was like most important to him in his entire life, right here. And like you can go right ahead and like I don't know, you can find like PDF or something like that. I'm not gonna be like distributing like PDFs or whatever have you right there. But like basically this is like talking constantly about the westernization of knowledge and like alleged Islamization of knowledge. And like it constantly talks about like this whole idea of like the ontology of knowledge. And like basically it keeps on like just going on and using all of these words that are like unnecessarily complicated. It's not that I don't understand words, Sepupz. Like there was a year when I read like literally 400 in the course of a single year, bro. Like I understand every single word that this man is using, and I understand when the words are unnecessarily complicated right there. And I have to say right there that like this entire book was basically like so convoluted but yet so inspirational to the point that basically like an entire generation of education ministers like came out like just like inspired by it, right? And like basically decided, hey, you know what, like let's go right out there and then make like knowledge be in its right place right over there. And then that ended up influencing our education system to kingdom come kind of thing. And you know what's the interesting thing about this right here? You know, like that Syed Naqib Alatas. So like he is actually the brother of Syed Hussein Alatas. And like maybe that's a name that you haven't heard like very much recently. But like he was basically like legendary scholar right there. And interestingly enough, right? So like I had a call with his daughter just the other day. I wouldn't say which daughter, but like she was like asking about like camera equipment, and like I just gave her like some advice, you know, like she's like looking for like a podcast, like whatever have you right there. But anyway, so like this guy, sociologist, famous, and arguably a better Arthas compared to his brother, who like just talks about like some sort of like I don't know, like making knowledge like allegedly Islamic. What does that even mean, bro? What does that even mean? I mean, like, you know, this is like I don't know, like it's just one of the books that I just like don't like. And it's not to say that I don't even like books that are like specifically, you know, like of a nature that can be like associated with Islam, right? I mean, like I have literally read also Wa'il Halak's The Impossible State, right? For those of you who actually want a real book, right? A real book, right? So then like The Impossible State is a good book. I mean, like I will probably leave like links to these right there in the description. But yeah, so like that is an example of a good book. It is well argued. But like our royal professor kind of thing, like I'm sorry, like to the family and legacy of like Syed Naqib Al Atas kind of thing, like I think that you're an affirmative action case. I'm sorry, but like this is I genuinely that is my personal feeling. It's just my opinion. I am a nobody who just happens to think that way, but like, yeah, I'm sorry. Like, I just don't like your work. Like, it's just, I don't like it. Like, you can't like compel me to like suddenly end up liking it, kind of thing, you know? But also a fun fact, by the way, for some of y'all out there, like, he is also what we know as like the crab professor. So, and yes, I do mean like the crab professor, by the way. Like, I actually read about this in Lim Kit Siang's like biography, like quite a while ago. And I actually sent this over, by the way, to James Chin, whom some of you may know as a like famous professor who always comments on like Southeast Asian affairs kind of thing. And yeah, so like in fact, like there is this good old like biography, so to speak, featuring well, like the writings of I don't remember if it was no, it wasn't Kwa Kia Song, but like it was like a biography basically of Lim Kit Siang. Let me see. Let me just check for a quick bit. Lim Kit Siang biography. We'll get back to like Naqib Al Atas and we'll get back to Zakir Naik like pretty soon. Let me see right here. Who actually wrote that book? Okay, yes, Ki Tuan Chai. All right, so like maybe some of y'all have seen this, maybe not, right? But yeah, so like in this book, right? So there is written like a like record of like Lim Kit Siang's interaction with this like Naquip guy. And like for those of you who just came in right here, so like the like brother of Syed Hussein Alatas is like, in my opinion, like the less person of standing Alatas. Syed yeah, Naquib Alatas. I do not like this Alatas. I just don't. I cannot. I cannot. But anyway, so like there's a whole like interaction between him and yeah, this Lim Kit Siang, right? Basically he challenged him to a debate. And you know why? Because like basically what happened is that Lim Kit Siang said that a Malay culture should not be like, I mean like Malaysian culture doesn't need to be a Malay culture, basically, right? And this is basically what we have right here. You have a discussion about like the Malaysia thing, right? And yeah. So then, oh, let me see, like where did it start from? Okay, hold on. Yeah, so you can actually like sort of like see what is going on right over there. Hold on, let me see. Ah, okay. Yeah, so let me see. Ah, okay. Look at this. So like basically like this Naquib Alatas, right? So like he was of the view, right, that like Malaysian culture, it must necessarily be Malay culture. All right. Like you can see the sort of like stupid things that this person is like just talking about constantly, right? And that like he reinforces even now in his like royal professor role kind of thing. So then basically like the story is that Lim Kit Siang had a, shall we say, like debate with him. It was like a public debate, right? And like basically Syed Naquib Alatas, like he basically said, hey, you know what? Like I want to challenge you and the DAP to get like school to come and receive a tutorial on the subject of Malaysian literature and culture directly from me. You want to know something funny, by the way? Like, do you know that like the Alatas family, right? Like they can't even like really like claim to be quote unquote like Malay except by the constitutional definition. Like they are Circassian, right? Like Arabic, right? They're not like, you know, like Malay in like the standard way that we might imagine, like people like Bugis, Jawa, that kind of thing, like people from like around like islands kind of thing who eventually ended up becoming the characteristic peoples. No, like no, it's not a thing. But like anyway, so then like this guy of like uncertain origins comes out and then says, "Hey, you know what? Like you and the DAP need to come and receive a tutorial on the subject of Malaysian literature and culture directly from me." And then basically then like in the same statement, this guy calls DAP's leaders crabs. And my challenge is not only to Kit but also to the DAP right there. You are a confused company of futile clowns disguised as politicians. One normally does not challenge crabs, but in this case, the boiling pot is ready, and it's not so much a challenge as an invitation to Mr. Lim and other members of the DAP leadership to be steamed. I am therefore pleased to spare some time to give Mr. Lim Kit Siang a taste of a debate with me and Gerakan and to give them a chance of a last scream. Bro, like, okay, this was actually worth it. This was actually worth it. This was actually worth it. Like, so like, I don't know, like James Chin, I think like he enjoyed that, and stuff like that. But like you can see right here that like this is the kind of person that we're like talking about, right? I just like I am not a fan of this guy's ideas at all. I do not like this person. You know what I mean? But so yeah, like going back, so like it is basically this guy, right? Who basically like facilitated the good old like so-called Islamization of knowledge in Malaysia. And again, like multiple education ministers were listening to over the course of time and who now holds that royal professor seat, which is like crazy. Which is like crazy if you think about it. Like I cannot. Like this wow. Kind of interesting, but like, yeah, not a fan. Anyway, yeah, like going back to the whole Zakir Naik thing right there. I mean, like, I think like you could say that basically like he's like, I don't know, like well read and everything, but like arguably, right? Like it's very like shallow, shall we say? Like the way that like he may go out there and then like pick out like specific things from like certain scriptures and then like call that like education kind of thing right there. But like if you think about it, it's like basically every time I see like the kinds of people who will like enter into like his lectures, and yes, I do like occasionally watch his like lectures, comparative, whatever have you right there. I just think to myself, like, wow, like all these people just kind of look like zombies, you know? Like maybe it's not fair and everything like that, but like that's just the impression that I get. Like whenever like like they just happen to like ask questions and stuff of that nature right there, I just think to myself like, wow, I don't know, like yeah, it's just a thing. But anyway, yeah, so Zakir Naik is not dying. Like that is fake news. But we had a poll and like some of y'all out there were thinking like maybe it might be nice if he actually died. Like I would say guys, it's not good generally to think that like it's better if like someone dies. But yeah, so then we had a nice discussion about like incitement and a whole bunch of other things as well, right? Yeah, I don't know, like I don't think that he actually like really like directly incited the Bangladesh bombing, but yeah, no question about it. Malaysia should comply with the extradition order, in my opinion. That is my personal view, and yeah, but I do see that of course like some people like you happen to like the guy, in which case then like yeah, like okay, like you can like the guy, like I have no issue with that. But I do think that like, if he really does have faith and he's like really basically like someone who has like faith, then in that case, if nothing happens but by the will of God, then surely you should not be like just thinking to yourself, well, let me go ahead and like run away from things, right? I mean, like, what does that say about the level of your confidence in God? I mean, like, if you say that basically, like, well, God gave you hands and feet and gave you a mind to think, right? So then I don't know, like, is that kind of like you're saying that basically like you are partners with God? Because as far as I know, like there is a certain Tawhidic principle which suggests that maybe that should not be a thing. But I don't know, like that's the kind of thing that maybe like you could like think about, yeah. And people more school or versed in religion would probably like discuss right there. It's not an invitation to try to convert me, and as always, so like lakum dinukum waliyadin. Have you learned though, like some things here and there? Anyway, so does anybody have any questions? We're probably gonna wrap this up like here, there, and everywhere. Rah, 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 rah. Anyone? Any last minute questions? Discussion about Zakir Naik debate running away from Christian Prince. Now he's come to educate those who are easy for him to educate. Okay, I have something interesting to sort of like tell you right here. Like I have a Cambridge Celta, right? So like that is basically like this Cambridge English language teaching like certificate and everything right there. All right. So like there is in fact like it is like probably like the most intense like shall we say like teaching qualification that you can actually get right there. I got this like a while ago and yeah, so like it is basically something that like okay, if you guys are like looking for like an English tutor or something like that, so then like I mean like you can fill in the form right there. I can't guarantee that will get back to you. But there is a form in essentially the, shall we say, description of this video, in every single description right there. Go ahead and like fill this in. If you have a child who may be interested in basically like having like say English tutoring or otherwise for the SAT, IGCSE or whatever have you right there. Again, not a guarantee that like we'll have like slots available for you. Depends on like the availability right there. But if I happen to end up working with you, then like yeah, by all means, like be happy to get to know some of you all on a different level. But yeah, so the reason I mentioned this in the first place, right, is that when you say like you're educating a person, right, actually like that's something that I'm like not intuitive now. Like when you are like actually educating a person, like for example, right now, right, like imagine that like I'm in a class and I ask you guys all right now, do you understand? Type yes in the chat if you understand. All right. Type yes in the chat if you understand. All right. So then, like, in that case, right there, so like, imagine right now that, like, I don't know, like 10 of you right now, like, you type yes and you're like, oh, yes, I understand, right? So then the question is, do you understand? Let's say that I'm in a class right now, right? Like, there are like 40 students in front of me, right? Let's say that there are like 40 students, kind of thing. I'm teaching math kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, this is how you do like order of operations kind of thing. And I say like, do you understand? If like everybody says yes, right? Or like if like 10 people say yes, then like does that mean that they understand? So like the thing is, right? The answer is actually no, right? Because you see the people who actually do understand, right? So then like if they say yes, right? Then you're still like missing out on the other people who may not actually understand what you're saying. Right? Like sometimes like in a group, right? If like let's say that you're friends, kan, you don't want to be like the dumb person, right? Teacher asks a question, and it says, "Does everybody understand?" Then like your friend says yes, then your other friend says yes. Then at the end of the day, right, like you don't want to seem like you're dumb, right? You're not gonna like scream out like, "No, teacher, saya tak faham," that kind of thing, right? So like when you think about like Zakir Naik, like doing all those like lectures right there, and then like going out and then like so-called educating the audience kind of thing. I mean, like you have to like wonder to yourself, right? Like how many of those people are actually like out there getting educated, and how many of them are out there just like to confirm their beliefs, kind of thing. And bro, like okay, I have asked like some very qualified people like this question actually before, right? About like whether they have ever actually like questioned their beliefs before. And it just so happens that one of those people is like a person who actually went to Harvard. And I actually have proof of it, right? Bro, like I actually have proof that I asked somebody who went to Harvard, right? And who happens to be Malay, right? Like whether he had actually questioned his beliefs before. Like, I'm sorry, like Akil, like if you see this, right? Like this is just like me like trying to make a point right here. Akil, like you might actually see this right here. But like I have to make this point, right? So like I asked Muhammad Akil, Harvard class of 24, right? Like I say Harvard class of 24, meaning that he graduated in 2024, right? So like you're a Muslim, okay? Fact. But like, have you ever like questioned your beliefs before in like your life? I asked him, like, have you ever questioned your beliefs before in your life? You can go ahead and like watch this video right here. And you can notice that like actually Akil kind of like dodged the question, right? He didn't really like I don't remember exactly like when this was in like the script right here. Let me see. Question. Where did we say question? Okay, let me just see right here. I don't know if I actually okay. What do you consider to be the most significant challenge to your faith in Islam or at large in your entire life? My significant challenge. That's a good question because that's something that I never really thought about. Okay, look. So like Akhil is like a very smart guy, extremely smart guy, like no question about it, right? And he actually went to an Islamic religious school. And like, okay, I know some of y'all out there, like you are tempted right now to be all like, okay, like ini tongkat ke, that kind of thing. Like I would say like stop. Like there's no way for you to do that with Harvard. It doesn't work that way. It's like one of the most selective schools in the entire world. Like if you got there, then you got there. Kind of thing. But he had never actually questioned his beliefs before, right? It's not because he's like stupid. It's just that like the culture is just like, that like in that way. So then when I think about like all the people who go for like those Zakir Naik lectures kind of thing, I just wonder to myself, like, are these people actually like learning anything, or are they just like, having something that like they have heard before, like drilled over and over again inside their own heads, rationalizing like if you actually want to learn stuff about the world, like by right, what should happen is that like you look at the evidence and then like you form your conclusions, right? But like a lot of these people, no doubt, right? Like they are going the opposite way. It's like they already have their own conclusions, kind of thing. Like basically, God is everywhere, God is everything, God is doing this for me at this particular time, at this particular place, that kind of thing, right there. I just want you to basically be the face of the person who just like tells me, yes, it is true. So like maybe that is fake news, like maybe and like if we think about it like in the grand scheme of things, yes, everybody has like their own belief system kind of thing. So like maybe there's this idea that like, this is like a hot take kind of thing. Like God could be like fake news, right? But of course, like, some people out there, they be all like, you live by faith. We live by faith and not by sight. For you, we're living all for you. You are the way, the truth, and the life. We live by faith and not by sight. For you, something right there. Yeah, Christian hymns. I know, I get it. It's something that you don't expect to hear at 11:30 p.m. on a Monday evening. But yeah, like this is. I mean, like it could be. Imagine that it's like fake news, right? So then, like people, like they get around that by like saying like, oh, it's faith kind of thing, and like faith is the main way by which you get to know God or something like that. But if you really think about it, like actually, it's one of those things that you don't know the answer to. And like a range of different pastors or otherwise might say that like, it's like something you don't know the answer to, but like maybe like the very act of faith like requires you to bet your life on it, that kind of thing. And when I think about like that right there, I can see how people end up getting like gaslighted, right? Like even by like entities like say past or anything like that. Because like that's just literally the way how religion works. That's how like people get like manipulated on large scales right there. And it really like takes a person like stepping away, right, from all of that to see like just how gaslighted you actually are. But like in a situation where like you don't actually know, right, like what could actually be different, and you're only looking at like the immediate world, right? And then like people are just constantly telling you jangan cinta dunia sangat kind of thing. It's like it's very hard for you to actually like change that situation. But anyway, yeah. So like don't know how many people are actually going into Zakir Naik lectures for education. Yeah, I just wanted to like yap about that for a quick bit. I'm curious what you guys are saying in the comments right now. I don't know, but yeah. So like we're gonna probably hit out like in a quick bit right over there. What do we have? Upper cheater, upper cheater, upper cheater. Wow. So some discussion about what is it? Yeah, so like education type of thing right there. Ooh, you have a question to ask. Okay, so oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see like your question earlier. Okay, like this will be the last question I answer, Sepupz. But yeah, so like Aldwin Wong asks, well, I have an honest question to ask. If one person is genuine and honest in evangelizing to you, as in they genuinely believe that this is the only way to heaven, how would it be like? Honestly speaking, I feel like, well, when you evangelize, you have you are going to be taking a risk, right? Like everybody is going to be taking a risk when they are, well, evangelizing, so to speak. Quick one. Yes, you could say that I'm Christian. Yes. Um, and yeah, so like if a person is going to like try to evangelize to you, they are taking a risk, right? Like you don't know like what the person that you're going to be like talking to is like you could be very unlucky, and then the person that you're talking to is like me kind of thing, right? And then like in that case, then I would literally tell you, hey, stop, that kind of thing. Like if it's really like one of those if it's a social media context, I can actually be quite cruel. Like I understand I can be cruel. I've told you guys about this before. um and yeah, in that case, then like it won't be pleasant, right? But I feel that again, right? Like if you're the person who like genuinely believes in it, then like maybe you want to go along with it, then you should bear it, like the every single type of person that you could possibly see on the earth right there. There are so many different types of people. You would have a very bad experience if you encountered someone like me. But if you like met someone that you could actually have like meaningful relationship with, then I would say that you should just go for it. It's like, for example, like I don't know, like asking a girl for her IG or something, or like I don't know, like talking to someone that could eventually be a friend. Like what can you lose? The worst thing that can happen is that they say no, unless of course like you are saying semoga mendapat hidayah to me, and then like I literally do like just like unpleasant things along the way. But yeah, I would say that like it comes down to a lot of like like basic social sensibility, but like also generally speaking, like have a little bit of like social intelligence lah. You know what I mean? Like it's a reality, right? That like, see, when human beings we interact, right? Like it's very natural for us to like judge people on the basis of like their, like for example, words or gestures, or like whether, for example, they're looking at the camera, right? Are they like varying their tone of voice? Is there a variation in their cadence? What is their body language like? All of those like small little things, right? Like they add up into like a little grand picture along the way as well, right? And there are good ways of evangelizing, and there are like bad ways of evangelizing. And I would say that bad ways of evangelizing are just those that just don't consider context. You know what I mean? Like you are just doing it in a situation that is inappropriate, like quite obviously, and you are doing it in a way that reflects that like you did not really think about it, or you did not really think about whether it was really the appropriate situation for it. But I would say that like if you feel strongly about it, then like maybe like you can consider like taking that risk more often with like random people that you don't know. But with me, yeah, it's probably not a good idea. Not a good idea, in my opinion. It's not a good idea. Cause like from my perspective, right? So like I don't know what your intentions are, right? I it sounds bad to say this, but I really don't care about like what your value system is, as long as you don't intend to harm me, that kind of thing. Like in some ways, kind of thing, like I don't have like very deep interest kind of thing in like everyone's lives out there. I'm not constantly going out there and asking questions like, what is the internal world of this person like constantly? You know why? Because I know that like if I were to do that all day, right, I would have like no time for myself. And I think that should apply to every single one of y'all out there as well, right? Like you have like your own internal world, right? And you have to kind of like just bear with that right over there. Anyway, so Sepupz, so thank you for dropping by for today's live stream. So anyway, the fake news was crazy, very interesting, and ciao. See ya. Bye. Good luck with your discipleship training, and yeah, have a great one out there. Bye bye.